So you've been to this address with me before on a fairly recent live stream. And when we were here, I was talking about the blinds. I ended up giving them an estimate to replace most of the, or no, all of the blinds in the house. And they did accept that estimate. So now we're here to replace them. And I'm going to go ahead and time myself. Now I will say I've already sort of staged all the blinds, so all of the windows have the blinds that are going to go on them already sitting next to them. Spent about 10 minutes doing that, well less than 10, but I'll just call it 10. So when we're done today, we'll add 10 minutes to the timing. And what else was I going to let you know? There was one other thing. Oh yes, so the way that I do these, especially vacant properties and move-outs, is I have a $125 move-out trip fee that does not cover any work. Now, on other jobs, the $125 trip fee, like a one-off job at an occupied property, that $100 trip fee is going to cover a bit of work. But on this one, it's not. On this one, and on all my move-outs, all my bigger estimates, I start off with a $125 trip fee, and then I try to price all the additional line items in accordance with just what it costs to add them to a work order for a job where I'm already on site. So the trip fee covered the measuring, the Home Depot time, and maybe staging them, but like I said, I'm not going to include that. I'm going to add 10 minutes to whatever I do today. And I'm not going to be rushing either, because I'm not trying to figure out how fast am I. I'm trying to figure out what's a reasonable amount of time to be billing for. We got 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗟 Handyman Services 𝗪𝗘𝗔𝗥𝗡. Good to have you here, sir. Now, I usually use modified truss screws when I put blinds up. I never, ever, ever use the screws that come with the blinds. I hate those screws. They're always junk. So I usually use modified truss screws, which I'm out of. So I went to Home Depot to buy some actual modified truss screws, and they don't have any. Like, at all. My Home Depot, completely out of them. Didn't even see a spot on the shelf for them. So instead, I just swung by Ace Hardware on my way here and just picked up some drywall screws. But drywall screws will do just as fine. Anything's better than what comes in the package. So yeah, basically, all we're doing today is just replacing blinds, and I'm going to be timing it. We've got 14 sets. Let's move this back a little further. There we go. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗟 said, listen, brother, I just started my business following your step-by-step 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗟's Handyman Services, taking care of my wife and our 5 children. 1,000 thanks to you. Congratulations on 5 kids, man. That's got to be awesome. Jeff said, thank you. You're welcome, sir. Jason Rhodes said, how's it going, Ray? I hope it's not too hot in Arizona today. It's not too bad so far. We did have a storm yesterday, though, believe it or not, with 80-mile-an-hour winds, which is pretty crazy. Knocked over power lines, like entire telephone poles all over town, destroyed parking lots downtown, ripped, solar panel installations and all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, my son's on a job where he's got to do some shower caulking, and it's got like 3 layers of caulk, because everybody, well, it may be grout, I don't know, but apparently everybody in the past, all the other handymen, which by the way, same job, he also was doing smoke detectors, and all the smoke detectors are reachable with a short ladder, and then there's one that requires a really tall ladder. So guess what? All the smoke detectors you can reach with a short ladder, those guys were all not done. Those guys were all done. They were like a year or 2 old. And then the one that requires the tall ladder is expired. And that's because handymen are lazy and they just don't do their job. But we're not like that. We've got the taller ladder, and we're on our way back to the property to put up the smoke detector where it needs to be put up, instead of just invoicing for 4. So, where are we at? We're at 5 minutes in, so when we're done doing all these, I'll see how far in we are, and that'll tell me how long it took. And also, like I said, I'm not going to be getting in a hurry on this at all. Sorry about the reverberation, but I did not bring my good mics today. I like to close these before I take them down. It makes them easier to handle when you throw them in and out of the car. trying to get into the trash. And then we'll just wrap it up. Now, one of the things that I did specify on this is that there may be some patching to do at the corners where we take stuff out. So we're going to go ahead and put the new ones in, but they didn't want us to do any patching. They said unless it was super obvious, and it's not super obvious. If there are any, we'll do some patching, but otherwise we're just going to be throwing the new ones back up. Patrick Trotter said 99 in Richmond, Virginia. Man, it's humid there too, isn't it? Jason said, man, I've changed out so many blinds in my career. Sometimes they're a breeze, sometimes they're a booger. Yeah, I'm hoping these are a breeze, man. The last ones I did, oddly enough, were not very easy at all. So yeah, when I do these, I never use the screws that come with them. I just get my mounts out and I throw the screws away and I use my own screws. One good tip for you guys who haven't done a lot of these is to make sure everything is going to line up with your mounts, because you're going to have these pieces in the way depending on the style of blinds you're using, and you're going to have this big piece right here in the way as well. So I already know I'm going to come probably about 8 inches in on each side, and then for the center one I'm going to offset it to the right where there's nothing here. Oh man, somebody else already? Oh no. That just fell off. That's good. I was worried. Another thing you got to be careful about is sometimes people return blinds to Home Depot and they just take the box back up, and then you open it up and you don't have all the pieces that you need. And I just line these up by hand, by feel, whatever you want to call it, as long as you do them all the same and everything's uniform. There's nothing super particular you gotta worry about on these. Make sure it's nice and straight. Another problem you sometimes run into is these are not always level and straight. So when you go to put the blinds on, you may end up having to pull them back off and readjust a few things. Patrick said, I lied, they just upped it to 102 and a real feel of 108. Jason said, wow, Patrick, that's hot. Now I feel like I went complaining about my 93-degree weather. Oh, nice. They don't always pop in so nice and easy. Won't need, yeah, I'll go ahead and keep the knife on me just in case. Throw that in the other pocket, although I don't think we'll need it. I'm trying quite purposefully to not be fast today, because I really want the timing that I come up with today to be representative, not of what I'm capable of, but of just simply what a reasonably qualified handy person should be capable of. Here's one of the reasons this one's getting replaced. It doesn't even grab anymore. There we go. And if you'll notice, I'm trying not to put a lot of trash on the floor. I'm bringing it over here to the countertop, because if you throw all your trash on the floor, then when you're done, your cleanup time is going to all be spent bending over and standing up and bending over and standing up and bending over and standing up until you herniate a disc, which I have a lot of experience with, so I don't like herniating discs. Also, I think one of the things I want to do in the future is get a little collapsible, well, y'all can't even see me. I want to get a little collapsible cart to bring into these houses, because I feel like my day would probably go a little easier. My day would probably go a little easier if I had a cart to put a lot of this stuff on. Am I missing one? No, it's just stuck with the paint. There we go. Yeah, luckily these are not stuck to the paint, so they're not ripping anything off of the wall. They're just leaving little holes behind. So we're not going to have to worry about those holes. Jason said that's a good idea about the collapsible cart. I think I'll search around Amazon, see what they got. I got a few bucket tool organizers there. Handy on some jobs, but a nuisance on others. Yep, I agree. Let me know if you find any good collapsible carts. So don't forget, check where your blank spots are back here. So it looks like, let's see. So on the left side, I need to be either right up against here, or I need to come at least 6 to 8 inches out. Yeah, 6 will be fine. And then on the right side, I can just be somewhere over near the edge. Yeah, this one's going way, way, way better than the last one did. I think I'm gonna come out 6 inches, just in case. Jeff said, what type of blinds are you installing? I heard you can't install plastic blinds. These are just regular cheap vinyl blinds. We're actually replacing, so the estimate I gave them was for like kind, which is 2-inch faux wood blinds. And that was too expensive for them, so they took the secondary option of replacing the nice blinds with cheap blinds. So these are all just cheap vinyl blinds. Russ is in here. What's up, man? He said it's only about 100 here in Tucson today. Monsoon rain should start in a couple hours, taking the humidity to 100%. Yep, that's gonna be happening for sure very soon. Knock on wood, this is all going pretty smooth so far. Looking good. Y'all got any questions or anything, just throw them in there. I don't have a problem talking while I work. Something you should notice is how slow I'm moving and how clean I'm being. I'm not rushing through this and putting myself in a position where I'm mad at myself at the end of the day with all the cleanup. I'm just taking my time and getting it done. Not trying to rush anything. Hopefully that means I won't have any super expensive mistakes. Jason said, if you have to fill the holes first, what do you fill them with? I use 5-minute mud as long as one screw in each mount bites into the jack stud. If not, then I use Durham's water putty. I'll use, it depends on if it's hidden or not. If it's visible, I'll do like you and use hot mud. If it's gonna be fully hidden, like behind or underneath the actual headrail of the blinds, then I just use caulk. If it's a tiny hole, you can't use caulk if it's a bigger hole, but if it's a tiny hole, you can. Oh, my phone was just ringing. Oh boy, I'm getting a lot of missed calls, huh? They are almost always spam, but I do need to see what my son was texting. Yep. Cool. Thanks for letting me know, sir. This one's going so much smoother than the last one did. Like this whole blinds job. The last time I did a bunch of blinds, it was a nightmare. Not a fun day. Jason said those valences are aggravating when painting a house. I usually mount when reinstalling them. Yeah, by the way, one of my little tips is if I'm putting up all new blinds like this, now these don't come with valences because they're cheap. But even if they did come with valences, if nobody specifically asks me to install the valences, all of my property managers are aware that unless they ask me to, I'm never gonna install a valance, because to me, those are just, they're extra work orders. That's all they are. They're cheap, they're flimsy, they're never any kind of high quality product. So all they do is create unnecessary work orders, which you would think I want, but I don't want. What I actually want is to serve my property managers well, and one of the ways I do that is by not installing valances, especially here in Tucson, where they're absolutely going to heat up right next to the window with our 115-degree heat, and ultimately get brittle and crack and fall off. So I never reinstall them unless it's like, you know, let's take for example over here. If I've got 3 windows, if I've got 3 windows and I'm replacing one set of blinds, I'm gonna match it to the other 2 windows. So I will put a valance on over there. But if I'm doing the whole house, or if it's just one room and there aren't any other windows that are going to make that lack of a valance stand out, then I'm not going to put them on. Jason said break a mount. Oh, you were saying usually break a mount when reinstalling them. Yeah, that's what I mean. The plastic that they're made out of is cheap and brittle, you know, straight from the factory. And as soon as it hangs up on these windows in Arizona for a while, and I'm sure any other place that gets hot, I'm not saying Arizona's special, but as soon as it hangs up for a while near the heat, it just gets more old and more brittle. See, if y'all remember this place, we changed out that light fixture there. We changed out that chime box. Worked on the ceiling fans and stuff. We did quite a bit at this house, which is why the owner's so worried about spending more money. I do wish I would have brought a garbage can with me, because I could have brought that garbage can upstairs and just drug it around with me instead. Since I didn't bring a garbage can, I'm going to have to be carrying everything up and down as far as all this trash and just arm loads. Next time I'll try to have my audio ready. I do have some decent audio that I can use, but I did not bring the correct cord for it today. Oh wow, Jason said the audio sounds fine. That's cool. I did not think it would. It's good to know. Another little tip, guys. I can't do this here today because I'm replacing 2-inch faux wood with the smaller, tinier mini blinds. But usually, the thing to do is just to take the box that you're taking the new one out of and slide your old blinds into that box. I can't do that because these blinds aren't going to fit, but that's what I would normally do if I'm replacing with like kind. Getting old. Barrios said, Quicken instead of trash cans, $20 on Amazon, game changer. I'm not sure what that is. Is that one of those collapsible ones? That sounds like the thing that I use for camping. Either way, I didn't bring anything. I didn't bring trash bags, didn't bring a trash can. I knew I was only doing blinds, and my brain went, oh yeah, all you're gonna need is your tiny step ladder, a drill, just a couple little tools, and completely forgot to bring just anything at all to put the trash in. So I'll be hauling it to the van, one arm load at a time. Let's take a look at the back side of these. All right, so it looks like as long as I'm near the edge on each side, I won't be overlapping anything I don't want to overlap. How's the quality, guys? Is our quality okay? Is the video staying clear, generally speaking? Barrio said pretty much sheet of plastic board that rolls up to have. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those. Those are pretty cool. Definitely an option for me in the future. That's such nice, easy work. Really is. I cannot complain about my job. Barrio said good quality, and Jason said, Barrio said just look those up. I like that idea. I might have to invest in one. Yeah. Mario said the video's fine. That's good. Last time we were here, when I brought y'all along, we did not have good service at all at this property. I'm not pointing everything out to y'all, but you'd be amazed just how much is still wrong. Like, I can't look anywhere on this property without finding something wrong that needs to be fixed. We've got over here, I'm not going to show you everything every time, but this silver piece right here, this is supposed to be inside. I don't know if that's too close. This is supposed to be down inside that window there. It's literally everywhere I look. I cannot look anywhere without finding something significant that's wrong. But a lot of these homeowners are cheap. They want minimum viable product pretty much every time, and we don't agree on what minimum. They stress the word minimum while I stress the word viable. As cheap as they can get. And I don't understand that either, because these are, they call these investment properties. And to me, if you consider something to be an investment of yours, I would think you would want to take care of your investment and have it be in good shape. But that is definitely not how they think. They're definitely all short-term thinkers. This one will not lock up top. We're going to have to rely on only the wrap, which I can tell you probably won't work well. Boy, we're going to be done pretty quick in here. Romano said, what is your area ratio for work? You'll have to be more specific with that question. I don't know what you mean by area ratio. Jason said, clients hate it when I point out all the things that need fixing, but I hate not fixing them all. I like everything to look good when I'm done. Yeah, I agree. And I used to not point out a lot of stuff because I was worried that they would think that I'm just trying to make more work for myself. But I kind of got over that finally, so I just send them estimates, you know, that's all I do. I use the 𝗬𝗢𝗨'𝗟𝗟 where you can do, y'all probably already know this, but for those who don't, you can do line item approve or deny. So every time I'm sending an estimate or an invoice, doesn't really matter. If I've been to a property and I saw things that need to be fixed, I just send them the estimate. And it's line item approve or deny. So if they want to say yes to one thing and no to the other 5, they can. If they want to say yes to all 5, they can. It doesn't really matter. But I just make it a matter of course now to just send those when I'm done with work. Barry said, random topic, how did you go about creating your disclaimers for writing invoices and estimates? It was all just trial and error. It was, you know, in the beginning I had almost no disclaimers at all. And as I noticed, one of 2 things would happen. Either something would come back to bite me in the butt, in which case I would go, oh, I need to add a disclaimer. Or more often than not, something would almost come back to bite me in the butt. I just started noticing as I do these jobs what could or couldn't go wrong. So I just start adding these over time, and that's also why I use the custom line items that y'all can download, as a lot of my custom line items have those disclaimers in them. So I don't have to remember them every time. Romano said, how many miles around your home do you take a job? I take them anywhere, it doesn't matter. If, you know, some of them are, there's one place, actually there's a handful, 1, 2, 3, there's 3 different areas around here that are literally an hour from my house. And if they send me jobs that are further away, I just charge them more money. Handyman Nate says, should I cut my own 2-inch faux wood blinds on my miter saw or let Lowe's cut them? If so, how much smaller do I cut than the window opening? If your window opening is vertical, if it's plumb with itself, perfectly vertical and level and even and parallel, then you can just take off a 1/2 inch total, and that'll give you a 1/4 inch on each side, but that's not usually the case. Usually they're not going to be perfect, so and they may not even be, like they may be parallel but tilted, you know, clearly not that much tilted, but they may be parallel and yet still tilted. So, I don't know, take off 3/4, maybe a 1/4. I think Home Depot takes off a whole inch. Sorry, I didn't mean 3/4 or a 1/4. I meant 3/4 or an inch. I think Home Depot takes off a whole inch to give you a 1/2 inch left on each side, which seems fine. But that's just a call you gotta make based on the quality of the framing of the window. And I don't cut my own. I have, don't get me wrong, I have, but their equipment that they cut with is going to do a better job than you're going to do usually. However, I have looked into purchasing the same machines that they do their cutting with, because I know I could save a lot of time if I didn't have to wait for somebody at Home Depot to cut my blinds. Luckily, all of these here today, so 9 of the windows that we're doing today are 35 inches. 4 of them are 23 inches, and then one of them was a little bit of an odd size. But luckily, I didn't have to wait around to get any of these cut, because just by miracle, and it is a miracle, but by some miracle, Home Depot had all of it in stock, already the correct size for me. Jason said, I always let Lowe's cut them. I like the 1/2 inch on each side. Yeah, I think a 1/2 inch is standard. I don't know much about Lowe's. I don't shop there, I shop at Home Depot. But yeah, if you do need them cut and you don't have, let's say, the proper equipment for cutting them, I think it's better to let the people you purchase them from that have the proper equipment do the cutting. You just get a cleaner product. You can cut your own, you know, I've done it. It just does not look nearly as good as when it's cut on the proper machinery. But I would love to purchase that machinery and put it in a nice big van and just be able to cut my own with the right machinery on site. Barrio said, thanks for answering. You're welcome, sir. That's what I'm here for. I like interacting with y'all. Romano said, thanks for your videos, you're very welcome. If one of y'all wants to do some quick math for me, and I may be mistaken, I think I charge $25 per set of blinds on my custom line items, which is what I would have used for this one. And I've got 14 set of blinds, so I guess I can figure it out, because 25 times 10 is going to be 250, and then 25 times 4 is going to be 100, so that's going to be 350. So I'm charging $350 labor for this, plus $125 trip fee. Been here for 1 hour and we're almost done. I might even end up giving them a discount. Barrio said, what's a rough number of property management companies you like to maintain work with? I mean, I've been in the same position for a while now with 2 really big I don't know, it depends on how you say really big. 2 what I would call large property management companies. One much bigger than the other, but they're both very big. And one of them has 3 property managers that frequently send me work, and the other one has anywhere from 2 to 4. They cycle through employees a lot, and the individual property managers as they cycle through. Like right now, there's, I feel like it's Courtney and Marie are sending me a decent amount of work, and then the other 2 are not at the moment. They're usually trying out somebody cheaper when that happens, and then they show back up later. But like I said, they go through a lot of property managers, and the property managers there go through a lot of handymen. They seem to be the ones in my book that are always like falling off the map for a couple months, and then when they show back up, I'm going around fixing a bunch of stuff that some other handyman did wrong. And I know this because I asked the tenants, when I start getting those bulk work orders, because I'll go from like one or two a day, or maybe just 1 or 2 every other day, but I'll go from that to no work orders from them for like a month and a half. And then all of a sudden it's like 8 work orders. So I know that their new guy messed up, and now I'm going to be picking up his mess. So when I get to the properties, I ask them if anybody's been here to work on this recently, and everybody's always like, yeah, some guy named Steven, you know, was here 3 weeks ago, and he said he was going to go get materials, and he never came back. And they're like, there's always a bunch of excuses, a bunch of shoddy work, and they still do it. I don't know why. They don't ever learn their lesson and stop trying these newer, cheaper guys. They just don't learn their lesson. So all in all, most times I have 3 managers from the one big company. I have 2 from the other big company, so that's 5. And then I've got about 5 smaller companies that have 1 manager each, and I'm not their main guy. I'm just their guy for the jobs that their guy can't do, or when their guy like throws his back out or whatever. But so it's not really a number of property managers. You might say how many doors. And I can tell you, if you get 1 property manager, so let's say that you haven't been doing this as long as me, because this channel is mostly for helping new guys, right? So you're not as experienced as me, you're not going to be able to get as much done as I do. But let's say you are where I was my first year. And my first year, I could pretty reliably knock out 3 to 4 jobs a day. You're going to need, like, let's say 500 or 600 doors, so 500 or 600 single-family residential properties under the person who's sending you all of their work. But I wouldn't try to look at it in those terms at all, because you're going to have 1 property manager with 300 doors who has 5 handymen, or you can have 2 or 3 property managers that are sharing 1 handyman. There's different numbers of doors, there's different numbers of handymen. So basically, you just want to keep getting clients until you're too busy. And then when you're too busy, then you can fire a client, whichever one is your worst. Fire the one who doesn't pay you well, or, I mean, if they're all great, that's when you go hire a helper, you know, or another handyman, or subcontract a bunch of work. But I like to get too much work so that I can fire whoever isn't paying me on time, or whoever just isn't reliable, or that I just don't agree with working with. Yeah, $350 labor, and I mean, this video's only been going 1 hour and 5 minutes, so I'm almost certainly gonna discount this job, unless other stuff, because I do have other estimates that they're likely going to approve. So if I find out that's approved today, I might try to do more today, and if those other ones go wrong, then maybe I won't discount this. But I'm probably going to discount this one because, you know, I'm looking at $350 labor plus the $125 trip fee. So I'm looking at what, $350 to, so $475 for like 2 hours of work, you know, maybe 2.5 to 3 hours, including drive time. I'll probably knock like $50 off, and that's just gonna garner me some goodwill with them, while having given them really solid work at a cheaper price than what most professional companies who are doing blinds are charging. Jason said, I hope to get into working for property management soon. I spent 9 years doing insurance claims and I loved it. I heard so much good stuff about insurance, man. If I wasn't in the, you know, right now the position I'm in is I have enough work to keep my son busy. I have enough work to keep me busy. And I have property managers that if I wasn't staying busy, like if I was knocking their jobs out even faster, they would just be sending me more work because they have more work that they can send me. So I'm trying to do YouTube though, and I really love doing this YouTube thing. So for me, if I wasn't trying to do the YouTube thing, I think I would be firing a couple property managers and kind of putting my feelers into that insurance world. Because what I do understand about it is it pays. I feel like I already make too much money, but I feel like the insurance world, from what I've heard, pays even better than what I'm already making. And I'm just like, that might be a place to go, but I don't really want to interrupt like the good thing I've got going on right now by jumping into a new field. Hey, if anybody on here has my custom line items, if you're using Jobber and you've uploaded mine, could you go check and tell me if I'm charging $25 per set of blinds? Jason said, we love you doing this YouTube thing too, Ray. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's one of the coolest things I've done in my life. I have rarely enjoyed it. You know, I've been on a lot of adventures. Like, I had a food truck for a few years that I built myself and ran myself. I was in Afghanistan for 3 years, like straight, 3 years nonstop, and that was a big adventure. I did my 4 years in the military. That was a little bit of an adventure. But of all the big things that I've done, having this YouTube channel and having this community of other men all across the country with similar values, similar goals, kind of working together, because you guys frequently are helping each other out, you know, without me even being involved, which is amazing. But just having this community built up around me is insane. Like, I don't feel like I earned it, but I do love doing it, for sure. You know, and it means I have more time with family too. Because when I'm doing, I mean, I guess it depends on how you define with family, but I have more time at home. I may still be working all day, every day, and I think that's just a part of my personality. But when I'm doing YouTube stuff, typically I'm at home, which means I can just step out of my studio / office. I can just step right out of there and just go say hi to my babies, you know, and say hi to my 8-year-old, and maybe go have lunch in the kitchen with my wife right after she makes it. And I'm super grateful for that, because I couldn't do it without y'all. I ain't gonna start singing you love songs or anything. I do appreciate y'all a lot. You've improved my life. Mario said, yeah, get rid of the nitpickers, slow payers, super discount shoppers, freebie shoppers. Keep those that pay on time and respect your business. 100%, Mario. Handyman Nate said, have you seen or used Veto Pro pack bags? Are they worth the price? I have not heard of them or seen them or used them, sir. Oh, did they? They did. Nice. I don't know how many of y'all were with me on this property before, but this floor right here was rotten, and I mean rotten. Like when you stepped on it, it just sank in and back up. So they've actually fixed that, which blows my mind. I did not think they would. Yeah, well that's good. Every now and then a homeowner actually invests a little money in their rental property. Jason said, Mario, the worst nitpickers around here are the nicer, wealthier houses. They never nitpick the work, they always complain about the price. Mario said, back when I was in the carpet cleaning business, I serviced 20 apartment complexes. 15 of those only called me whenever their in-house maintenance people were not able to restore the carpet. And 𝗪𝗛𝗟𝗟 said, how much do you charge for rental turns? Oh, there's not really a simple answer to that question. I would refer you to my pricing videos, but to say at the very least, I charge a $125 move-out trip fee. And then that $125 move-out trip fee does not cover any work. That just covers shopping, admin, measuring, all of the logistics that go along with it, driving time as well. Oh man, I got my elbow. And then all of the individual tasks that I complete while I'm on the job, I charge for separately. But if it's pricing you're after, I have a lot of, I think, very good videos, like really good videos that will teach you not how you should price, but at the very least will teach you how I price things. Yeah, I've got videos on different pricing structures. I've got videos on individual pricing for individual one-off jobs. I've got videos for my line item pricing, which is always done in conjunction with a trip fee. Lots and lots and lots. It's the most commonly asked question, and I try to just get people what they want, same as I do to my clients in the handyman business. Jason said, hit that funny bone. It's called that because it's funny to everyone else. That's true. 𝗪𝗛𝗟𝗟 said, love your channel. I am so willing to start my own business, just very nervous to take the leap. Yeah, man, it's scary. I won't tell you it ain't scary. And that's why very few people do it. It's because it is scary. There has to be at least some piece of you that kind of enjoys trying hard new things. Because here's the thing is, you might fail. I'm not going to tell you that this is foolproof or that you're not going to fail. There's no guarantees. You might invest all of your time and all of your money into building a dream for yourself, and you very well might fail at it, just like I failed at my food truck business. But I like trying new things, and I like the fear of failing in a way. It's what keeps me chugging along, even today. I'll promise you, today, this very day, and every other day in my life, since I've started this business, some amount of my motivation comes from fear. Specifically, fear of failing my family, because if this business fails, then my family suffers. So, it's kind of one of those things that if and when you're ready, and you're just willing to accept the fact that failure is an option, then you just go and do it, man. And if you want it more than anybody else, and you work at it harder than anybody else, and you just give it your all, I do believe you will make it. I think it is, in fact, very hard to fail in this business if you're following like the basic tenets that I put out on my channel. I mean the most basic ones. Just be professional, show up, not drunk, do solid work, keep your pricing in line with something that's a fair market value. It doesn't really take a lot to stand out amongst the crowd in this industry. It doesn't take much at all. All right, guys, we finished. Now I've just got cleanup to do. I'm not gonna carry all around while I try to clean up though. But we are gonna go over some numbers. So if y'all wanna help me again, where are we at? Okay, this is an hour and 21 minutes. And like I said at the beginning, I spent 10 minutes, less than 10, but I'm gonna call it 10 minutes prepping here at the house. So we're gonna add that 10 minutes. So we're at hour 31 technically if we add that 10 minutes. And I spent 5 minutes at the beginning. Well, I spent a lot of time talking to y'all, but forget about the time I spent stopping my work and talking to you. If we're at an hour and a half for 14 blinds, can anybody pull out a calculator and figure out how many minutes? So 90 minutes for 14 blinds. So 90 divided by 14. Oh, that's actually not too hard to do if we call it 15. So 90 divided by 15, 15/30 is 6. So 6 minutes per blind times $1.66 per minute is $100 an hour. So yeah, that one I need the calculator for. $1.66 per minute times 6 minutes per blind. These went super easy. Because like I said, we don't have to count the shopping time and stuff. That's taken care of with the trip fee. And we're not going to count the cleanup time because that's also part of the trip fee. The individual line item pricing is only for the individual items of work done on site after you've done the shopping, after you've done all the logistics, and before you clean up, and before you invoice and do admin work. Matt said, hey Ray, I'm currently in the process of printing my business info to share with property managers. Any tips for those conversations or pitching? Yeah, they don't know you. All they care about is that, because they're probably going to give you a shot, right? Like, they're probably going to. If they need a handyman, and they may not, but if they do, they're going to give you a shot. All they care about is that you're a professional who gets your work done, gets it done right, and charges a fair price. That's all they care about. So when you go to meet them, your number one priority needs to be just convincing them that you're a professional who does what he says he's going to do and charges a fair price, shows up on time. So I would suggest that you just go in with confidence, and I don't care what your experience is. If you're not experienced at all, or if you've been doing it 10 years. Go in acting like, man, is my hat all? Go in acting like you really know what you're doing, like you've been doing this forever. Use words like doors, instead of houses. Use words like work order instead of job. Use words like vendor instead of handyman. If you use more of their terminology, it's going to make them feel like you've been doing this. But really, if you just go in there like clean, groomed, presentable, smile, look them in the eyes, shake their hand, just be nice, If they need a handyman, they're probably going to at least toss 1 or 2 jobs your way. And then your job at that point is just to impress them enough to send a couple more jobs until you become their only handyman. Jeremy said, is there any legal benefit if you work alone of being a sole, if you work alone instead of being a sole proprietor versus an LLC? Legal benefit. Well, the legal benefit of being an LLC, what is that? The legal benefit of being an LLC is going to be the separation between you and your business. There's what's called a corporate veil. If you pierce that corporate veil, meaning if you mix your business account with your personal account, if you mix any of those things, that corporate veil disappears. But if you make your business entity and you fund your business entity, and then your business entity does all of its own stuff separately from you as a person, especially when it comes to money, checking accounts, credit cards, Home Depot accounts, doesn't matter. You separate that LLC out from you, and that's the whole purpose of the LLC. It's a limited liability. It means you personally are not liable for things that the business does or things that happen to the business. That's the main benefit. However, the bigger thing is not so much a legal benefit, it's taxes. If you're a sole proprietor without an LLC, you're taxed the same way as if you have an LLC. So if you get an LLC, right, and you're just an LLC, you'll also be referred to as sole proprietor. if you're a sole proprietor. If you're a single member LLC, you're taxed as a sole proprietorship or without the LLC. Either way, if it's just you, LLC or not, your taxes are going to be sole proprietor taxes. If you have an LLC though, then you can elect to be taxed as an S Corp. It's not a different type of LLC. You're still an like if you're a single member LLC, when you file the paperwork to be an S Corp, you're still a single member LLC, but you're a single member LLC who's being taxed as an S Corp. And the way this works is if you're an S Corp, there's extra paperwork to do. You have to pay yourself what they call a fair salary. And that fair salary has to be paid to you like as a W-2 employee. You have to give yourself a W-2 and do all the things that come along with that. You need to have a payroll system, which I use QuickBooks for mine to pay myself now. But when you become an S Corp, you set yourself what's called a fair salary. And within that fair salary, you're gonna pay, so let's say you make 100 grand a year for your labor. You're gonna get 100 grand a year that goes into your pocket that's taxable. If you're not an S Corp, you're gonna right off the top, before income taxes, if you're not an S Corp, you're going to pay 15% of whatever your income was in what's called self-employment taxes. That's Medicare and Social Security. Adds up to 15% total out of that entire 100,000. So 15,000 out of your 100 goes into self-employment taxes. And then on top of that, you pay income taxes. If you're an S Corp, let's say you set your salary at 50,000. So you made 100, but you set your salary at 50. You're still going to pay yourself the whole 100, but you're going to payroll yourself on your W-2. Your salary through payroll is going to be 50, and the other 50 grand is going to be a distribution. So you're going to pay your 15% self-employment taxes on your salary, but not on that other 50 grand that's a distribution. You're still going to pay income tax on that other 50, but you're going to save 15% of the self-employment taxes, which adds up to $7,500 a year if you're making 100 grand a year. So that's the big difference between being an LLC and not being an LLC, is if you're not an LLC, you cannot elect to be taxed as an S Corp, which means you're going to pay that 15% on every penny you make. Oh, Jason Motivational said, it's worth a risk. Good luck, buddy. I agree. He's talking to 𝗟𝗓𝗟. I hope I'm saying your name right. I agree. It's worth a risk, man. If you're motivated and you're willing to work hard and you have good ethics, you'll go far. Barrio said, I've heard so much about people harping up on charging on materials. If I may ask, why do you choose not to? It's just personal choice, you know. I feel like, first of all, I don't really explain my pricing to anybody, but if I was ever in a position where my pricing was being analyzed, I would rather appear to just be charging a lot of money for my service than to appear to be marking up materials. Now, if you want to, let's say you want to mark up your materials by 30%. If you put that in your invoice, if they can clearly see your cost plus your percentage, nothing wrong with that. What I have an issue with is guys who just like double the price of the material. So you buy a ceiling fan for 80 bucks and then you turn around and sell it for 160. I just feel like, it's just a feeling, that's all it is. Like, feel perfectly free to do it how you want. I feel like I would just rather be honest about what I'm charging up front and have, if I've separated labor and materials, if I say that the smoke detector costs 20 bucks and they go look up how much does a smoke detector cost, I want them to see the smoke detectors cost in the ballpark of 20 bucks. I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to be sneaky, because in the end I'm charging the same amount of money, right? If it's a $200 job with $50 worth of materials, then I'm charging $250, $200 for my labor, $50 for materials. Now it's a $250 job. I would rather charge the $200 for the labor and the accurate $50 for materials than to charge $100 for materials and $150 for labor and then have them go, oh, you doubled the price of the materials. I understand that that's okay, but they may not. So for me, it's more about perception, and it's just easier for me. But I mean, don't feel like you need to do it any particular way. I have my preference, and it's perfectly okay for you to do it a different way. Staying off the grid said, stupid beard and stupid hat. I agree. My beard and my hat are horrible. Barrio said, no one's here for the hate. Don't like it. Please move on so others can learn. I agree. Yeah, we don't need any trolls in here. I don't get my feelings hurt easy, though. Romano said, I agree with you, Barrios. Mario said, yep, move on. Jeremy McGuire said, copy that, thanks. Cool. You guys are cool. Don't y'all worry about my feelings, though. It doesn't take a lot to get me excited about stuff, but it takes a lot to hurt my feelings. I'm not easily hurt. So, anyways, the math. I didn't bring anything to do math on. But I think we saw pretty clearly $350 labor for, and again, there's a $125 trip fee on top of that. That covers the drive time and the shopping time and all of that. So $350 labor, and if you deduct the time I spent talking to you guys, and I think you saw I wasn't working very hard, that $350 is for like basically an hour of work. Even if you called it an hour and a half of work, if these weren't so easy to do, which they were super easy, this is some of the best ones I've done, but even call it 2 hours of work, which I haven't even been here 2 hours yet, and I'm done. But even if it was 2 hours worth of work for $350, plus there's still the $125 trip fee that covered my shopping and driving and all that, pretty sweet deal. This is for, sorry, what was your name again? 𝗟𝗪𝗟𝗡, yeah, for 𝗟𝗪𝗟𝗡. See, this is the sweet money. So I'm going to give them a discount, and that's going to garner me some trust and some good faith and some goodwill. I'm going to give them that discount because I'm already making just plenty of money, man. You know what I mean? So that discount is going to give me more goodwill, and it's going to get more trust and more faith in me, which is going to help to convince them to send me more work and to continue sending me work far into the future. And to get my estimates approved when it is expensive work that maybe they don't want to get approved, they're going to have that trust. So don't be greedy. Tell you what, guys, I'd love to just stand here and talk to you all day, but I want to get home and get stuff taken care of too. And I've got some measurements to take around here for some work that I think they're about to approve. But I'm glad you guys hung out with me today. It was cool. I'll try to do something at home. Maybe I'll do a live. Maybe I'll just do a regular video. But I'll see y'all later. I love you guys. Hope you're out there killing it, and I'll see you on the next one.